Welcome back to Anime Room, where legends rise, heroes fall, and untold destinies unfold. Today, we dive into a dark tale of vengeance, blood, and destiny, a story born in sorrow and forged in the fires of the demonic realm. This is the divine demon's grand ascension. When Seol was just a boy, he lost everything. His only family, his beloved grandfather slain by a mysterious killer. But from the ashes of grief, a vow was born. To claim vengeance, he will walk the forbidden path, devouring the martial arts of the 10 demon sects, battling through endless carnage, and rising above blood and darkness to become the strongest. I will find you, and I will kill you. Now, deep within the heart of the demon realm, where all devils dwell, the divine demon awakens. This is just the beginning of an epic journey. So make sure you subscribe, like, and stay till the end, because what comes next will shake the heavens and the underworld alike. This story begins with 2 guards stationed at the gates of the demonic Murim Alliance, also known as the Demon Palace. They were deep in conversation, amazed at the countless warriors and disciples from various factions and sects who had gathered to compete in the 10 Demon Palace competition, a rare chance to master the forbidden demonic martial arts. Amidst the bustling crowd, their eyes caught sight of a young undertaker quietly walking among the warriors. One guard chuckled and asked, "Is someone already dead before the competition even begins?" Little did they know, this boy wasn't there to bury the dead. He had come to fight. His name, Seol. As Seol stepped through the palace gates, he whispered to himself, "This is just the beginning." His thoughts drifted to his beloved grandfather, the man who gave him that name. Years ago, his grandfather had found him abandoned in a snowy field and took him in, naming him Seol, meaning graceful snow. He raised the boy as his own, teaching him the solemn duties of an undertaker. From a young age, Seol showed extraordinary intellect and sharp observation. He could tell a man's martial arts rank just by studying his corpse. Though people despised them for their profession, Seol never faltered. His grandfather would always say, "You are a gift from the heavens, Seol, the undertaker of destiny." But their peaceful life was destined to shatter. One night, Seol's grandfather, Jangyong, suddenly awoke, his instincts screaming of danger lurking outside. He sighed and muttered a haunting proverb, "The kind never seek you, and those who do seek you are never kind." Realizing what was about to happen, Jangyong gently woke Seol. He proposed a game. "Let's see who can play dead better." The winner, he promised, would finally receive the sword and uniform Seol had always wanted. Excited, Seol climbed into a coffin, unaware of the deadly truth behind the game. His grandfather closed the lid, whispering, "Stay hidden until sunrise, no matter what." Seol tried to protest, but the coffin sealed shut. Moments later, Jangyong stepped outside, sword in hand, to face the intruder. A man cloaked in black, face hidden under a veiled hat, emerged from the shadows. He addressed Jangyong by his old title, Seven-Branched Demonic Blade, Jangyong. Jangyong smirked bitterly. It had been years since anyone called him by that name. The veiled man accused him of abandoning his post as vice palace master to live a meaningless life burying the dead. Jangyong replied calmly, "I became an undertaker to atone, not to survive." Their blades clashed under the moonlight, 2 masters of the demonic path locked in a fateful duel. Jangyong pleaded to move the battle elsewhere, away from innocent eyes. The stranger agreed, but warned, "Don't think of running." And so, Jangyong lured the battle into the forest, determined to die far from his grandson. Hours later, unable to endure the suffocating coffin any longer, Seol pushed open the lid, gasping for air. But the night was cold, unnaturally cold. The gate was shattered. His heart sank. Calling out for his grandfather, he ran into the woods, and there he found him. Jangyong lay bloodied and broken, his arms severed, eyes slashed, body riddled with wounds that spoke of torture rather than battle. Seol dropped to his knees, trembling. "Grandpa, what happened?" With his fading breath, Janyang whispered, "Seol, listen to me. Don't seek revenge. Promise me." But Seol, weeping uncontrollably, refused. "I can't. I won't. I'd rather follow you to hell than forgive whoever did this." Janyang smiled weakly. "I thought I could let go easily when I die. But I can't. Go far away, Seol, and live. I was happy with you." And with those final words, he was gone. Seol's cries echoed through the forest. The next day, Seol prepared his grandfather's body for burial. His eyes were hollow, his soul shattered. He whispered, "So that's why you told me not to seek revenge, to protect me. But I can't, Grandpa, not this time." His undertaker's instincts took over. He examined the body carefully. The arms, severed by a downward strike, mid-swing turned to stab the eyes. A rare and deadly technique. The hidden weapon wounds, 93 in total. Even the sky full of falling flowers technique only allows 66. This was something far beyond. The poison, one that rotted flesh and blood from within. Only a few in the demonic path could use such a vile toxin. Piece by piece, Seol reconstructed the killer, a master of the Tianju yoga technique, wielding a high-caliber hidden weapon and using a deadly corrosive poison. "There aren't many who fit this," he muttered. "I'll find him, no matter what." Standing before the registration table of the 10 Demon Palace competition, Seol filled out his name. His trembling hands gripped the pen as tears splashed onto the paper. Then, he bit his thumb and pressed a bloody fingerprint as his seal. The guards looked on in shock. They saw not a boy, but a soul consumed by vengeance. Seol whispered, "My life ended the day Grandpa died. From now on, I walk the path of revenge." As he stepped into the demon palace, his destiny began. The Undertaker reborn as a demonic avenger. Within the Murim, two great powerhouses exist, the Orthodox Sects and the Unorthodox Sects. These two factions have been bitter rivals for ages. The Orthodox Sects, led by the Murim Alliance, seek to uphold justice and order across the martial world. In contrast, the Unorthodox Sects, united under the banner of the Demon Palace, are devoted solely to power, believing that true strength transcends all laws and morals. For generations, these two forces maintained a delicate balance within the Murim. However, in a bid to strengthen their dominance and influence, the Orthodox Sects created the 18 martial masters, legendary warriors trained as masters for the greater good. These elite figures stood as the ultimate defenders of justice, their strength serving as both shield and symbol for the Murim Alliance. This sudden rise in the Orthodox power stirred unrest within the Demon Palace. Unwilling to be overshadowed, the palace devised its own countermeasure, the creation of the 10 Demon Masters, prodigies destined to rival the might of the 18 martial masters. Their plan was simple yet audacious: to gather 10 of the most gifted individuals from across the land, regardless of background or prior affiliations, and train them in the demonic arts of the 10 most feared unorthodox sects. Thus began a massive convergence at the Demon Palace, as countless ambitious youths from every corner of the Murim arrived, hoping to seize this rare opportunity. Among them was Seol, a young man driven by a singular purpose: revenge. As he stood amidst the crowd, Seol could sense formidable auras emanating from several individuals. His instincts told him that one among them might be connected to the murderer of his grandfather. He knew that his grandfather's killer was a martial master whose strength far exceeded his own, a being beyond his current ability to comprehend. To avenge his family, Seol realized he must rise to that same level. He must become a martial master himself. But there was a problem. Seol had no sect affiliation, no master, and no formal martial arts training. His only skill was tending to corpses, a trade that offered him neither strength nor status. Yet he refused to give up. The path before him was clear. The fastest way to ascend was to be chosen as one of the 10 demon masters. Suddenly, a towering, muscular man emerged before the gathering. His crimson eyes burned like flames, and his wild white hair and beard gave him the air of a battle-hardened warrior. Clad in ornate armor with a fur-lined cape draped across his shoulders, he radiated a commanding presence that silenced the crowd instantly. Behind him stood a line of shadowy guards, each concealed beneath wide-brimmed hats and flowing robes, silent, ominous sentinels exuding mystery and menace. The man introduced himself as head instructor Hayok Ryan, known throughout the Murim as Gold Dagger Blood Eyes. The very mention of his name sent murmurs of shock through the crowd. None had expected the head instructor himself to appear in person. With a deep, resonant voice, Hayok Ryan addressed the assembly, explaining the purpose of their gathering. This was not a mere test. It was a trial to identify the greatest prodigies among all the unorthodox sects. Only those who passed every trial would earn the right to become candidates for the title of 10 Demon Masters. The first trial, he announced, would test physical aptitude. Immediately, martial artists of the Demon Palace began inspecting the participants, evaluating their strength, physique, and bone structure. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. Many questioned how such a simple test could determine one's worth. Still, the examiners continued, approving those with well-developed muscles and sturdy builds while rejecting the frail and untrained. When an inspector approached Seol, he placed a hand on the young man's shoulder and froze. Though he felt a fierce killing intent radiating from Seol's eyes, his body was weak and underdeveloped. Scoffing in disbelief, the inspector asked how someone with such a physique dared to enter the selection. Despite sensing Seol's determination, he ultimately failed him for lacking the required physical foundation. But Seol did not despair. He knew this was only the first step. Having never trained his body, his life spent among the dead rather than warriors, he understood why he couldn't pass a test based solely on physical strength. Still, he was certain that there would be more trials, ones that would allow him to prove his true worth. Those who passed the first trial were led away, leaving behind a smaller group of the rejected. Standing before them once more, Hayok Ryan declared the end of the first trial. One defiant participant protested, arguing that the test was unfair. If physical strength alone determined the selection, what was the point of holding a competition at all? The head instructor's golden eyes blazed as he answered, "The body, its muscles and bones, is the foundation of all martial arts. Without it, no skill can flourish. We hosted this competition to find aptitude across all lands. Yet you dare to question our methods when you cannot even meet the most basic standard." Overwhelmed, the participant bowed his head and pleaded for another chance. To everyone's surprise, Hayok Ryan relented slightly. "Do not despair," he said, his voice like thunder. "The second trial will reveal those who can learn martial arts well, regardless of poor physical aptitude." As his aura surged, the air itself seemed to tremble. The participants fell to their knees, crushed by the sheer pressure. Then, with a wave of his hand, he signaled the beginning of the second trial. This time, the test was brutal, a battle to the death. Only the last one standing would advance. Panic and hesitation spread among the weaker candidates, many horrified by the idea of killing their peers. But others, more ruthless, saw it as a chance to eliminate the competition. Amidst the chaos, a group of hostile participants fixed their sights on Seol and a young woman standing beside him. Among them was the same man who had complained earlier. Fueled by frustration, he roared and hurled his spear with deadly precision, shouting, "Die!" Seol froze. The attack came too swiftly. All he could do was watch in shock, eyes wide, as the spear hurtled toward him. Please subscribe, like and share if you haven't done so already. Your support fuels our continuous effort. Thank you for watching. See you next time.